So operators are the ones that place a product on the EU market or export it from the EU market, and they carry the full responsibility. So they must conduct full due diligence and submit due diligence statements in Traces, which is the EU system for uploading your, for certifying that you have done due diligence. And they must pass on due diligence statements references to buyers, which are also called downstream operators, which we'll reference in a second. And then below that, you have the non-EU supplier, and these are the exporters of processes selling to the EU operator, and they provide complete origin and legality data, and for the upstream DDS or equivalent trace info. And then below that, in between the kind of non-EU supplier and perhaps some more intermediary suppliers, you have the producer, which is the farm or the plantation where the commodity is produced. And here they need to supply plot coordinates and legality proof, such as the right to the land, for example. And they, of course, also need to confirm deforestation-free production. So these three work closely together, and the blue kind of closed circle is the circle of responsibility. And then essentially they also carry indirect responsibility as an operator for the supplier and the producer, just because they need to validate that the output is correct. And then we get to downstream operators and traders. So now we see that the top row has changed, and essentially it's just one step above the kind of supply chain that I just broke down. And we're seeing here that the downstream operators essentially just buys a product from a operator that has already done the whole due diligence process by placing a product on the EU market. And all they need to do is make sure that the product is traced correctly and mapped to every purchase order and sales order. And that basically then links down to the process that I just described, so we don't need to go through that again, but it gives you a bit of an idea of where they sit in this whole process.
For our winter school, we have decided to make it as practical as possible by deep diving every week into the preparation process of a company called Canal Chocolate. And let's start by understanding a little bit more about them first. So Canal Chocolate represents one of the most frequent types of company we see out there. And it is a chocolate and chocolate derivatives manufacturer in the Netherlands. And for the sake of the example, they're also non-SME, so they have the full scope responsibilities when it comes to their size. One of the first actions that our company has to do is understand their sourcing paths. So they checked with their procurement, and they have three main direct suppliers. And from the discussions with procurement, they also understood that they are sourcing from Germany, a small part of their purchased materials. Main source is the Democratic Republic of Congo, and they also have a small sourcing stream from South Africa. As a second step, they also went through their inventory and they scanned through the HS codes of the products that they manufacture and they purchase. So first of all, they found that they manufacture the HS code, only the HS code 180631, which is chocolate and other food preparations containing cocoa in blocks, slabs, or bars, filled and weighing 2 kilos or less. And they found this by searching the registration of their business activities with the government. They also checked the customs clearance documentation, and they found out that they only purchased 2 HS codes from their suppliers: HS code 180100, cocoa beans, whole or broken, raw and roasted, and 180400, cocoa butter. So now they know exactly what they purchase and exactly what they manufacture and from which countries and from which suppliers. So we can group the data that Canal Chocolate will need in 4 main categories. They will definitely need a lot of shipment data, as we saw from the graphs. Every single order needs to be traced, so their sales orders needs to be traced with their purchase orders. They most probably record invoices, the products. We also saw that Canal Chocolate manufactures products, so they have bill of materials of how the purchased products are used in order to manufacture new products. And we also need their suppliers' information. Then we have supply chain data. We said that when sourcing from standard or high-risk countries, you need to assess your supply chain. And this could mean the transportation processes, the traceability processes, mixing the different countries involved, the steps involved in the chain. And then we also have the origin data. This includes from the actual plots of land, so the coordinates that you get from your farmers, to a set of evidence like legality proof, the species that are used, how we do post-harvest management in case we have wood as the commodity, and many, many more.